for the next subject, I got a good one. This is gonna catch y'all guys by surprise. In your opinion, what is the best gaming console in your opinion?
Of all time?
Of all time.
Or what we've owned?
Or what? Okay, we could do of what we owned.
Ah, shit.
What is one of the best?
That is a fucked up question, and you know it.
That's why I asked it.
Ugh. All right, look. I started on the Atari 2600. Moved on to the Nintendo Entertainment System. My sister had a ColecoVision. Played all of that shit. Nintendo basically set the standard. The Super Nintendo was the hammer upon the gaming industry. In my opinion, I've had fun on all of those consoles that I just named. But I've never had more fun than the Sega Dreamcast. That's just my opinion. Most of the games that I played on it were great. The games I own on it are great. I never threw my fucking controller. On a Nintendo, I have. On the Atari, I threw my joystick.
That's a new system now.
Atari.
I
get one of those.
An Atari
8,000 bit Atari. No, but I've thrown my joystick on the Atari. ColecoVision, the foam fucking knob shit. I slammed that down a couple of times. Never tossed a Dreamcast controller, though. I guess those games didn't frustrate me. But even the Sega Saturn, I fucking spiked.
But the frustrating games like NES, hard, were still fun.
Oh, okay, fine. There's no debating that. There's no debating that NES games.
That is if you think being frustrated is fun.
No, frustration is not fun. But look at the reward after you beat that shit. After you was frustrated for so long, like, yeah, I beat it.
Your status goes up too.
Well, back then, you beat that game? Yeah. What's the ending like? Beat that shit yourself.
Beat that shit yourself. That's what I'm saying. Your social status went up.
Oh, you beat it too? Come here, let's talk about
Let's talk about this. What did you think about that?
Yeah, exactly. Oh, yeah, so you really did beat it. Yeah, I really did beat it.
What you would say was
Dreamcast?
Mine was a Dreamcast.
But was that a defining system for you? As in, does it create?
I said
did
earlier.
That create you as the gamer?
I said earlier it was the Nintendo and Super Nintendo that did that.
That actually brought the gamer out.
Yes.
That you started on, but it elevated up.
It was Nintendo fever and Super Nintendo dominance.
And then you said you reached your pinnacle at the Dreamcast.
Yes, I did.
And then, so the PlayStation, Xbox didn't.
Oh no! I had fun on those systems, but just not as much fun as the Dreamcast. But once again,
what about the Sega Saturn?
The Sega Saturn was fun, but again, I still put not limited, but again, I put the Dreamcast above that. It just had, for me, the quality of gaming itself was better.
And I think one thing too, what really got me too was that I'm still an avid RPG player, and that's pretty much where I went. Whatever systems were.
Well, that was another thing I was about to touch on too. It really depends what games were on it and what games were meant for those people. I really love fighting games. I love fighting games. I love shooter games. I love beat 'em ups. And at that point, with the Dreamcast, it had the fighting games. It had shooters on them that I would still play to this motherfucking day.
So what about you? What console would you say?
As my defining console?
Yeah.
I would go with, that's a tough one, man. That is a messed up question. I love it how you reversed that on me. I was expecting
What do you mean reversed it? We're all going to talk about it.
The NES is my defining system. Simply because that's what I grew up with. I mean, I did catch on with the Dreamcast. I did like the Dreamcast. But to me, the Dreamcast was more of a... Dreamcast did fighting games translation from arcade to home perfect. You win. I mean, there was no...
You win.
Straight. That was it. For fighting games, if you were a fighting game,
Well, you can actually say that about the Saturn too.
Yes. But... for action adventures and stuff like that, I mean, there were, but I have to say the NES and the SNES, maybe the NES take a slight edge over it because that's what really got me in, the Zeldas, the Metroids, the Kid Icaruses, the Akari Warriors. I know everybody don't like that. I actually liked it. you know, that was my defining system because I remember when I got mine and I first played that Mario Brothers, and you know, you're lying if you knew what to do when those little Goombas were coming up at you and you didn't and you didn't know to jump over them, man. You just running into them.
Wow.
And
something
it's
just eyes, mushroom face.
Yeah.
And feet
just scream danger, right?
that's coming your direction. I think you would, get out of the way or something.
But the NES, I have very fond memories because I got my NES. I think '85 Christmas. I actually got it pretty much right at the release.
Mm-hmm.
And I played Mario and Duck Hunt, and that was just
when they were individual cartridges.
I had them individually, and I also had the. I think I bought the one that had the two together, the Duck Hunt, and
I think
the one
I had.
It was a set. It was a set because I had the zapper with it.
See, I got mine years later, and I had the Super Mario Brothers Duck Hunt with the zapper and two
Correct.
controllers, and I was shooting ducks all night.
And clay shooting.
Oh yeah.
You know, I mean, we used to go to my my uncle's house because he had one, and we just sit there for hours and hours just
get an NES with a zapper.
I'm not talking about at the screen.
No,
I'm talking about like from here.
Extend as far as you can and just aim and shoot clay.
And then I remember fondly.
Shoot dog if he fucking laughs.
I remember fondly when I figured out that you can control the ducks.
A lot of people didn't know about that with a second controller.
And I used to troll my brothers. Like, you can control the ducks? See, it's like, and I said, what are you talking about? You know, I kind of put
I put the controller away.
Like, but yeah, I mean, the NES. The reason why I think it's a defining system is simply because it brought.
But it
defined me, and I think it defined the industry because it brought the industry out of the ashes that was once Atari.
Well, yeah.
It just, I mean, I don't have nothing against the Atari. I played the Atari just like everybody else, but I think what the problem was that the quality check, you know, that the Nintendo actually, you know, you could only make, you know, they were only giving chips out to certain people. And you could only make.
They wanted to regulate that.
Correct.
They didn't want
because they didn't want the same thing to happen.
Yeah.
And for one, you got to admit that the Nintendo, what's that called? Marketing policy was one of the best. They did not market it as a gaming system.
No.
They marketed it as a toy.
Oh no, it's a toy. It comes with this robot.
It's a toy, and that was just pure genius.
Oh yeah.
But don't get me wrong, because I mean, Super Nintendo, I loved it because that, like, I agree with you, Theme, that it was the pinnacle. It was just like, I mean, when I first set eyes.
When you think about gaming today, for the most part, most games that come out want to be somewhat of a game like that was on the Super NES.
Secret of Manas, the Zeldas, the Metroid.
Every genre that was out.
And it was like, oh my god. And then I was fortunate enough to be able to have friends that actually owned the Genesis as well. So I got onto the Genesis a little bit too. And then with the Genesis and the Super Nintendo wars that went on, the first console wars, you know, I mean, blast processing.
Legitimate console wars.
Blast processing. I mean, as a kid, you're like, blast processing. And then they showed Mario Kart and they showed Sonic going 100 miles. It was pure genius on Sega's part. And I was just like, you're like, whoa, I got to get that. But yeah, for me, I think that the NES is definitely a defining system for me. So that's my opinion. Now, Reverend?
All I'm saying is that there's way too much excitement about beating and conquering and male testosterone going back and forth. It all sounds really, really phallic. Suck down that bottle. Suck down that bottle.
We're gamers.
I'm just saying.
We have passion for what we believe in.
I'm just saying. It sounded really phallic. Both of you guys got really excited.
Because we're gamers and we like gaming. So
yeah.
Oh, well, my defining system was... We're not going to be doing that.
We're not going to be a sloth. I'm sorry, man.
Well,
hey, Flash.
I like the NES.
You want to hear
you know, the Super Nintendo was...
We're not going to do that.
We're not going to be doing that. Come on,
hey, Flash, you want to hear a joke?
So what is your system?
Yeah.
You have
and we expect you to have as much enthusiasm as both of us.
No, he doesn't have to.
Nah, I just... Testosterone, man. Because we're men.
Yeah, because we're men, yes!
No, it just sounded really, really phallic, all right?
So?
borderline gay.
No, it's not.
Like aggressively gay too.
No.
Right.
Well,
We
you're
didn't
between
say
us.
we didn't say I wanted to put my dick in the Nintendo. No. I wanted to make love to Mario. They didn't do that.
A lot of veiled circle jerks. Video games make friends, alright? That's all I'm saying. Okay.
Oh, Jesus Christ. All right, back to the case of point.
Alright.
Your defining system.
Okay, go.
My defining system? Okay, I can tell you what, let's see here, probably, okay, during grade school there was the NES and Super Nintendo and everything else, but, I didn't actually own my first system until I graduated high school. Alright. That was the Super Nintendo, and then shortly afterwards I went ahead and I got myself a PlayStation. Alright, a PS1. PSX. I have quite a collection on that. I know that over the time that I've owned, from my first one, I probably owned 6 or 7 of those consoles total.
I mean, who hasn't, though?
Yeah. And yeah, when I was up there in Washington State and moved down on my own and everything else, that was pretty much one of the things that I had in my baggage and everything. That was part of me becoming who I am right now. All right, great system. Like it. When a lot of folks were honing their skills and like jumping, like making these what is it? These huge quantum leaps in skill in 2D games. I was playing Tekken.
Oh,
All
Tekken.
right.
Yeah.
I started jumping into 3D games a lot. And then I, just actually came back into playing a lot of 2D games a little bit later after that. Because the only thing I really played that was 2D after that I kind of dedicated myself to was Darkstalkers.
Oh,
It was
my
mostly
God.
actually Night Warriors, Darkstalkers
Yeah.
2,
Yeah.
and Samurai Shodown 2.
Fond memories of that game.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, there's the PS1 has been like, yeah, it's got a special place in my heart. All right. The Super Nintendo, like I said, Super Nintendo. I've got the majority of all the systems, but the Super Nintendo and the NES. Like I said, I didn't own my first console until I almost got out of high school, and like I know the NES and the Super Nintendo that I got, I inherited them off of somebody else. All right, they were somebody else's before they got into my hands. All right, but the PlayStation that I bought, the first one that I bought, that was the first one that I bought and I owned on my own. So, yeah.
It's funny because when I got a PlayStation, it was for my birthday. Even though I paid half for it, but my sister helped me get it.
Yeah.
She actually paid the other half, and I got a couple of games for it. And I was like, yeah, that was a pretty cool thing that she did for me. And I love the PlayStation too. The PlayStation, the first PlayStation, PSX, love that one too.
Yeah, I mean that's like I definitely enjoyed all the other consoles that have come since then.
Yeah,
I own like pretty much all of them except for the PS4 and the Xbox One and the Wii U right now, except for the newest ones right now.
Mm-hmm. The current generation console.
Yeah, the current generation consoles.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that just happened to be like the one. So
understood.
I mean, the PlayStation, I got on board with the PlayStation. I think actually when I was over in Japan in the Navy. And
Don't tell me what that was because of me.
No, it wasn't. But what really got me really on board with the PlayStation was Final Fantasy VII. It was just one of those games.
One of 3 games got people onto the PlayStation.
And
even though there was early games in the Tekken series and Wipeout, and all the arcade perfect things that were onto it, Battle Arena Toshinden, you had Final Fantasy VII, you had Symphony of the Night, and you had Metal Gear Solid. Yeah. Those 3 games.
I wouldn't even really include Symphony of the Night in that thing, because as far as it went, it was a solid title, but it wasn't so unique to the console. All right, at the time, because there were lots of 2D. I would say that the three franchises that really went out of their way to define the PlayStation, PSX, and PS1 when it first came out was Final Fantasy.
Mhm.
What was the other one you said?
Metal
Gear
Gear.
Solid.
Oh, Metal Gear was later. So, but yeah, definitely one of the landmark moments. And the other one was Resident Evil.
I was gonna
Oh,
say
yeah,
that
Resident
was was it Code Veronica?
No,
No.
Resident Evil.
Resident Evil 1.
Code Veronica was
Yeah.
on the Dreamcast
Dreamcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
first, and then it went PlayStation 2.
Well, with the Symphony of the Night, to me, it proved that you can put. Well, that's what coined Metrovania.
Metroid.
That's what coined that. And the music, the soundtrack, it was just so captivating. You know, it really put you there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It did. And I don't know. To me, I think I understand where you're coming from too, but I'm definitely more leaning towards the Final Fantasy, the Metal Gear Solid.
Well, there are a lot of people that are going to lean over to certain games.
It's your preference.
Because every person's experience is different.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure that a lot of people out there are going to be like, well, my system is this. And these are just our opinions, people. It's not etched in stone. There's nowhere where it says, greatest system of all time is it. No. These are just our opinions and our experiences as far as what we think.
Tekken, like you said, I like how you said Tekken. Tekken was interesting because it kind of threw fighting into a 3D world. And
Well, Virtual Fighter did that.
Yeah.
It did, but it like Tekken redefined it. It seems
Not in
as-
Japan.
As far as the home console,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
that's what I'm saying. I'm not talking about arcade.
Home
Yeah,
console.
Well, home console version was pretty much perfect.
it
Yeah.
was.
There
Although the
was-
loading times were a little bit.
No, there
but-
weren't.
but
Not on the Tekken series. Not for the PlayStation. There weren't any.
Oh,
Really.
yeah,
I thought there was.
there
when you're
was.
loading in.
It was very, very.
Like when you
it was barely
when you get your
noticeable.
character
Actually-
select, I think you load in when you load into
Actually,
the game.
it was barely noticeable.
The Tekken series is actually the series that defined for PlayStation the 7-second load time standard, where it was like, all right, if you're loading things off here, it's got to be around. If it's over 7 seconds, it's too long.
Yeah,
All right.
that's what I'm saying. I mean, because that's one thing that the PlayStation struggled with was loading times.
Well,
It
most
really was.
CD-based systems did.
Well, that's because it was new. It was a new concept.
Yeah.
With a CD based. I mean, because. Yeah, I mean, so each of us picked something different.
Yeah.
How surprising.
Well,
Not really.
but it's funny how even though we picked them, we all mentioned the NES and the Super Nintendo at certain points.
The most entertaining things in this world: my eyes, my hands,
Yeah.
and other things that will stay close for the purposes of this video.
Oh, they better, especially if you're around us. Damn it. Stay tuned for more.